All right. So, hi everyone. Welcome to Changemaker TV. We have a very special guest with us today, Emma Barry. Hey, Em. Thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it.
So welcome, babe. And you're joining me here I've just come to work. We're at Beverly Hills. So this is across the way from my work. So this is where I hang out.
Nice.
Not too bad.
Tough life, but someone's got to do it, right?
You got it.
Well, everyone from the Les Mills world would definitely know who you are, but for those that don't, Emma's been a pioneer in the Les Mills international company and tribe, and I met Emma, I don't know how long it was ago now, like probably
Long time ago.
15, 20 years ago or something, and yeah, you stood out to me then and really inspired me as a speaker and have continued to do that, not only as a presenter and instructor, but just with your incredible ability to speak and capture a crowd of people. And then obviously working for many years in different roles with Les Mills International, and then taking a huge leap of faith and making a change and giving all that up. And now as the director of group fitness at Equinox there in LA and other cities as well. You go to New York as well, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. So it's been an amazing trip, and like you mentioned, the first half of my career was devoted 100% to Les Mills, and I was very fortunate, right time, right place, and I specifically remember the day that I went up to Philip and I said, I'm resigning, I'm off to see the world, I'm going to become an air hostess, and he went, whoa, wait a minute, how about we do this pump thing in Australia? And so I hung around, and really the rest was history. So was very fortunate to be, a personal trainer, group fitness instructor, group fitness manager. When I joined the international team, the team of 5, we got to take the wonderful programs to the world as international master trainers. And then when I came off the road, to have a family, was able to move into some management positions, which were really great as well. So looking after the group fitness programming, definitely came over to the US and ran the training team here for a year. And then went back into HR and recruitment and all of those good things. And, so I was able to get a real 360 on the industry and on all the roles that make up fitness in the world today. So very, very fortunate to have had 20, 25 years with Les Mills. And then, as you say, we took the big leap to the United States. And, what I didn't know about myself is that every 2 years I naturally get really restless, and I seek big change. And it's either in a role, it's either moving houses, or sometimes moving countries, or having another child, those sorts of things. So it's funny, in the early days I used to struggle with that. I just used to be in enormous amounts of pain around, oh goodness, what am I doing here? But now I just recognise it and I say, oh, here I go, I'm bored again. time to do something, or to ramp it up, or those things. Now, fortunately, that change has never affected my family, in the sense I've never wanted to move on from them. So they're sort of my constant, and Lee is my rock always, and we move through this wonderful journey in sort of 2-year chunks has sort of been my experience. And then when we decided to come to the US, it was a very big move at the time, and it took a lot to come to that. We'd won green cards, which I'm in the process of seeing a lot of people who are winning those, and they reach out to me and they go, what do I need to do? And I go back to my blogs and see what the first 2 years are going to look like, and learn from some of my mistakes. But it was one of those things, I was in a lot of pain, in the sense that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I was now in a management role with not much travel, and I don't go very well when I'm not traveling and when I'm not near the action. And so we thought, gosh, we can't move unless one of us has got a decent job. We've got 3 kids, and we've got to keep the food coming on the table. So
yeah, totally.
We looked at that for a while, couldn't find anything. And so we decided not to move and take up the green card opportunity, and it killed me. We went on a camping trip, and I didn't have a wink of sleep. And so we called on a good friend of ours, you'll know him well, Matt Church, in Australia, thought leader over there. And we said, we're coming over, you're going to give us some strategic guidance in our life. And he sat us down, put our life up, in a very simple flow diagram up on the wall, and said, you've got 3 options. You've got 24 hours to try option number 1. That didn't happen, so then we went for option number 2, and the rest was history. 5 weeks later, we had moved to the United States and we were driving up and down California in a big Suburban with 10 suitcases in the back going, okay, kids, what school do you want to go to? And that was pretty much it. So, then, came over here with Les Mills actually, and then about 9 months into a year contract that Philip was kind enough to provide for me, I got shoulder tapped by Equinox, and while it was a bold move, it was an opportunity to take all the raw materials that I had spent the last 25 years curating, and to be able to put that to a new and big challenge. And all of us in the fitness industry have always looked at Equinox, everyone, it's revered, and the marketing and all of that stuff. And I just knew it was an opportunity that I needed to take.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like you've fit right in there. And I mean, from what I can see from, your posts on Facebook and all of that, that you're making some big things happen and meeting lots of really awesome people, which
yeah, for sure, and still in contact with all the old school as well. Like that's one of the great things I love is everywhere I go, and I get hit up every day, and I do choose to be on social media because it's the only way I can keep my parents up to date with what I'm doing, as well as my obviously long forged friendships at Les Mills, and then the people that I continue to meet in my new journey. But it's a very small fitness world. Case in point, yourself. All these people, we just pick up where we left off around the world, and that's one of my great joys in life.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like, one of the big things was really paying attention to your intuition, your gut, like knowing that through this journey that you weren't going to settle for, that if there's some kind of desire within you to want to do something more, know that you need a challenge. It was, really digging in and being brave and going after that and not just ignoring it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think when I was younger, I used to just fight it and sit in pain for a long time. And, I have many mentors, obviously, but, I really listen to my siblings. I mean, they're the two that know me the best. And they're not scared of saying stuff that will piss me off because we're kind of in this together for the long haul. So, there was just a couple of remarks that both of them had made, just quiet remarks. I was sitting having a wine or something, and I think Tim, my brother, actually said, I was whinging and moaning about something, and he said, you've sort of been saying that for some years now. And I went, oh my God, I have been. And in that moment, I made that decision, shit or get off the pot, do something about it or suck it up and stop whinging about it. And my life changed at that point. And, Chucky, also very close with her, would also have similar feedback, and she'd just do it, just do it.
Stop freaking talking about it. Go for it.
I know. I mean, yeah, and it really can be that simple. I mean, she says that simple. I think, you have to decide what you want and what you don't want. And then, my experience has been, and this came from a lot of the commentary, once I said, hey, we're moving to the United States, I mean, first of all, there was a very long, drawn silence with my parents, and I could just feel that they didn't feel it was necessarily the best move. We're very settled and comfortable in New Zealand life. The kids were in good schools. It looked like all their children were coming home to roost. But it wasn't to be. And then every single person I spoke to all got really excited because they could see the excitement in my eyes. But then they always followed it up with, oh, but I couldn't do that. And I really did not like the fear in that. There was a lot of fear in that commentary. And one thing I've learned the most is that it's impossible to be in fear, and you'll know this with the work that you're doing now, if you are in action.
Yeah, that's right.
Against that fear. So, and that's probably my biggest piece of advice is, if you really fear something, take a step towards it, because in that stepping towards it, you can't be fearful because you're actually doing something. Your body's engaged, your cells are engaged. And I think that's kind of the way to go. And I had, probably another mentor that tipped me at the time was Sally Anderson, and she's, doing some wonderful work in Australasia. She's also done a lot of work in the United States. So if you can get near to someone like her, she is a change agent, and we did a lot of work on her mentorship program and on her mastermind to actually work out what's not serving you in your life and just to gradually shift things across. She calls them tolerations. What are you tolerating in your life? Yeah. And so I like that because it breaks it down into a chunk that you can actually do something about. And now my list of tolerations is very small. I mean, I'm getting older, so you get more mellow, and it's one of the things I love about aging is that you get this perspective, this wisdom. You don't hang on to shit that doesn't serve you anymore, and you kind of get on with it. And if you don't like a situation, you get out of it really fast. And I think that's a really good thing that comes with age.
Yeah, definitely. And as you've spoken about, you've had loads of mentors in your life, and I think that's that's a really important point. None of us have done it alone. It's been the key is and so many people think that they have to, and all of us, like all the greatest entrepreneurs, athletes, people in the world have never done it alone. It's having those mentors, having that support structure there to to learn from and pick us up on those moments when we're not feeling perhaps very courageous, or we're in pain like you mentioned.
100%. And I look back, and obviously sport played a big part in my life, and that was the mentorship mainly came from sporting coaches. I had a wonderful netball coach when I was in the 7th form, and you realise that these people really set the goalposts up for you, heading forward. So it moved from sporting coaches, into actual mentors. I've always been very, very fascinated and curious about personal development. So I was way off the rails in 7th form, and my parents had a bit of an intervention and sent me off to Outward Bound, which at the time was probably my first real immersive experience in personal development. And it never really stopped after that. Every year I try to do a course or a deep dive or join a mastermind or get people who are really going to challenge my framework and my conditioning and really allow me to grow in ways that I choose will serve me more. So I think I'm still the same person I was, of course, travelling through the years, but I just try to leave the luggage behind as I go now and make more mindful decisions.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure that's contributed, to you being who you are today and getting you to that place where you are right now in your life, where it sounds like you're challenged and you're loving what you're doing and you're impacting people, which I'm assuming is really important to you.
Yeah, it is, and that's a really good point. I think at the core of it, I didn't feel I was contributing enough on the magnitude that I wanted to contribute.
Yeah.
Every day I try to wake up, and as part I do a gratitude journal in the morning, and as part of that I try to highlight 5 people that I want to try and serve that day, whether it's my team at work, whether it's friends, whether it's people looking for a new job. I had nearly 10 years in HR and recruitment, so I'm finding that skill set's really helping people reposition themselves in their careers. A lot of my friends are late 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're really struggling. They don't just perhaps want to be an instructor anymore, or perhaps they're aging out of whatever role they're in. I'm noticing a lot of trainers are now moving on, and that's just the passing of time. Hopefully I can help those people find a wonderful next phase. It doesn't have to be that's all I was and it's downhill from here. There's a lot of shifting happening in the fitness industry. The fitness industry has never been so exciting. There's never been so many opportunities. Insta famous, all these different channels, technology, boutiques, startups. There's just a million ways that people can contribute going forward, and I really love trying to help people. Another way is, and something that's perhaps spoken about in the United States, one of the great things here is that everyone has a philanthropic cause. Everyone has a fundraiser that they back, and I really felt that since moving here. So obviously Equinox, we do a massive co-fundraiser with Memorial Sloan Kettering. So to be a part of that machine that raised $34 million this year was just, to see that in action was so inspiring, and has just pushed me on. So we like to give back. Schools are always asking. I always give. This is a fascinating thing for me. I always carry a wad of ones in my pocket. I like to give soup and stuff to the homeless. Thank you, Mike Sweeney always showed me how to do that. But I don't want to carry that around. If I come across a person who needs something, I try to give them something. At the end of the month, I'm taking our daughters to Mexico to build a house for a family who will never know shelter without that house. So I want them to experience that life. And you can give your time, you can give a bit of money, you can give your intention. And again, I'm just finding that work so satisfying now. So yeah, it's a big part. So giving back. And then I think, work-wise, I try to open up a path of potential for everyone that I come in touch with. And I like to think of myself as a catalyst. Hopefully I am that for people, to push them towards what they should be doing, what we don't often see in ourselves, and kind of to be that mirror that other people have been for me. And a great example of that is, I think my life also turned when one of my mentors at the time said, "Goodness, you're so strategic and decision strong when it comes to your work life, and your personal life's a mess. Why don't you just literally take the same skill set and apply it?" And I went, duh, bang on. And you know what I did? I thought, screw it. I can write a business plan for my personal life as well. And lo and behold, it actually works. And that's when I decided, I'm going home. I want to be with Lee. I want a family. I do need to go back to New Zealand, but I probably need to travel later in my life. All of these things started forming in that one simple piece of advice. And it's just applying it. So I wrote it down. Every morning I'd wake up and read it and remind myself that that's what I signed up for. And lo and behold, you start moving along that path. It doesn't have to be this big mess of emotions. And I'm sure, and I'm also a lover of NLP. I know you've been through that track, and that also changed my life, when you actually realised that words were forming the life before you, and your choice of them and what you picked up on, and how much I learned from people by just learning how they're deciphering the world has just been enormous for me in my work, understanding myself and understanding others.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And something that you said there, I wanted to hook into, and now I've lost my track. You said so many good things, and you've already given loads and loads of really good tips. That's right. When you mention about the opportunity, I even felt this as well, like letting go of Les Mills when I felt like, similar to you, that I had a bigger impact that I could be making and wanted to make on the world, and I felt like I was kind of capped, I guess, and a lot of people have felt the same, whatever industry that they're in or whatever position that they could be in, not knowing what that next step is, not really open to possibility, realizing where the potential is. So it's exciting actually to hear you speak about your excitement around where the fitness industry is going. I actually find that a really interesting topic, because it is evolving so much. It always has done, but where do you think, like, even group fitness is going? Do you think this is going to slow down? Do you think it's going to rebuild? Like, what are your thoughts on that, perhaps in the US or globally?
Yeah, I think, again, at the nub of it, we are social beings, and there's a lot of disruption in the industry right now for sure. There's as many people following Kayla and all the Insta famous as there are following the big club chains around the world. But ultimately, we are social beings, and I think our call to action on this is just going to be get way better at whatever you do. So I think there's going to be everything. Technology has enabled everything. We know we're surrounded by AI, AR, all of this stuff is happening, and trust me, the scientists are even 10 years ahead of what we even think they're working on. So it's all happening. The Matrix is happening, like you look at all the movies, Gattaca and all that stuff is happening. We are that far away from being able to, Google Skin. There's just so many advancements. So where will group fitness be? I think the answer is everywhere. Obviously, it's on my phone. Obviously, we've got holograms coming to us at music festivals. We've got people coming from the past, the future, all of this kind of stuff. So group fitness is going to continue to explode. The boutique market have shown us how to deliver it at a much more personalised and beautiful level. And, so for those in the club market, we have to meet those demands, and I believe we are. We know that virtual fitness is finally tipping. We know that immersive is coming in because it exists in other scenarios. Of course, it's here. I look at the success of things like Peloton and, actual training real time with others, streamed experiences. I think the music festival world, the fitness festival world, all of that stuff is going to continue to integrate. Really, anything's possible now, right? We could have any event streamed live in multiple locations or at will. The other thing is you could probably game your way through your ultimate experience as well. So, I really urge people to see that, to welcome technology. You're not going to stop it anyway, so understand your part to play in that. And it might be that you remain a bricks and mortar, a stand in front of others teacher. I just think it's a call to action to get better and better at what you do,
Yeah.
and to really enhance the things that perhaps can't be facilitated through technology. I mean, never have we been, and I speak at length with a good friend, Brian O'Rourke, we've never been so connected to technology, and in many ways so disconnected from each other.
Yeah.
I'll sit down with some of my kids' friends, and they're pretty good because we live in a pretty grounded community, but I go to some friend groups and the teenagers can't even look you in the eye. They're just not used to communicating with you face to face.
Yeah.
And we've all seen the pictures of them out, and they're all on their phones and stuff like that. So I think you have to embrace technology. You have to get better at what you do, and you have to get better at fostering that community, that in-person community. At the end of the day, there's a lot happening in the brain, and you can simulate a lot, but really try to reap the rewards of what could happen face to face. So I think it's all going to happen. Virtual, immersive, everything on my phone, exactly my thing, curated for me, all my friends doing stuff with me, at will and when I want it. And I think, with technology that can create any background, and we know from all the goggles and things like that, people actually have the same physiological response as being there. So all this stuff about technology is never going to be the same. They're getting it pretty damn close. And remember, we've now got kids who, my kids are obviously tech native, and they see the world in a different way. They actually see the world like the World Wide Web. So when we're trying to push down, you got to do 10 hard years, and you've got to do this and all that stuff, they don't even hear it. They're like, no, I can do that. Information is a commodity now. Everyone can get it. So that kind of stuff's changing. So my advice for people is find the place that you want to play in. And if you're not a technological person, maybe don't go that way, but just be aware that it's happening. And I think holding on to the past for too long doesn't serve you either. I think I'm quite an early adopter of things. And I think that's an interesting exploration, because there could be a way that you could do what you're doing, but in a more enhanced way that reaches broader people. So yeah. I would say that, and anyone who's looking to, who feels like they've aged out or needs another challenge, get online and have a good look around. There is a whole bunch of stuff. I always look to inspiration everywhere, like almost not at the fitness industry. The fitness industry I've kind of got a good read on. I look elsewhere into hospitality experiences. What are the festivals doing? What are some of the top, podcasters? What are the trends? Look at the big trends and try and just follow people in other industries, because they'll give us a far better read on where we're going. Because the fitness industry is actually quite young as an industry, and we're a little bit slow to move. I think many of the club chains were very slow to move. With the boutiques coming in and with online and things like this, people are finding their fitness in all different ways, that suit them. And I think in many ways, we talk a lot about millennials, and rather than get stuck in, that's an age group from here to here, we're all in it. We're all seeking more experiences. We're all seeking personalisation. So we are all part of the millennial age. We all want it fast and now. Yeah. And a lot of people are wanting to just sort of sell up and go and live something. Yeah. That's always the advice.
Lifestyle and freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're doing, right? I mean, it wasn't the best financial move to the States and start again, and, all the pain that goes with that. But from a spirit point of view, it was absolutely the right thing for us to do.
Yeah, perfect. And that was going to be my next question. You touched on it a little bit about where your inspiration comes from. What about personally? Where do you find your inspiration to continue, doing what you do and just being fired up, in your
I mean, I do jump out of bed every morning. I mean, first of all, I rely on my husband to keep my health in order. So, I mean, he does my blood panels regularly. I need to know what's going on. I'm not getting any younger. And so I try to maintain a life, of sunlight and the right nutraceuticals and living in nature enough, having enough time on my own. And luckily in LA, we have a lot of commute time. So I'm reading more books than I've ever read. I'm listening to more audio, more podcasts, more people than I've ever read. Everyone's doing the TED Talk thing. I mean, it's just so inspiring to have geniuses talk to their point of passion in 18-minute chunks. I mean, all of that sort of stuff. So I try to, whenever I'm in the presence of greatness, I am inspired, and it doesn't matter what the content is. Yeah. It's kind of irrelevant. I just get turned on by the passion and the deep focus that people bring to their areas in life. Obviously, I subscribe to a lot of online stuff. I've always got a mastermind course or a coaching course. At the moment, I'm doing a writing course with the mastermind there, and I'm also looking at online sales funnels. So those are two things that I'm looking at right now, because I know they're going to be a part of my future and my kids' future for sure. I try to feed my spirit, my body, and also my brain. So something else for people in the fitness industry, I was always, while you're doing your time on stage, always have something else going on. Are you going to sell a product? Are you going to have some sort of sideline business? Because I always knew at some point, there's always going to be someone younger, fitter, skinnier, more sexy coming through. What else have you got going on when all of that physical stuff is not so important and maybe you're not so well suited to it? So have your body and spirit, do stuff that stretches you, and the signs are always there. When you ask for something and create space for it, it comes out. And that's probably one point to say is it's very hard to look for the next shore when you're still clinging to the last one. And at some point, and every great motivational speaker will tell you this, there has to be a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And what that does is it just literally creates space where there was no space before. And, I love Les Mills, I always will. I love the opportunity that I got in that journey. And I am still very, very respectful, to the Mills family and to everyone that's been a part of that. And I really look at that as my grounding in all the work that I do from here on. And there is another massive, huge, enormous, exciting, wonderful world out there, other perspectives. But I needed to leave that and don't, it was the hardest decision I ever made because there are so many hooks in that business. I mean, I was one of the founding members, the music, the teaching, the family, the tribe, the travel, all of that stuff really takes a hold of you.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where I realised that there would be more, a little bit like you, I felt capped, and I knew that there would be more out there, but it took a leap of faith and I didn't know what that was. I mean, I had those moments where you're going, what the have I done? And I've dragged my family over here and, in 3 months I'm out of work, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, but you have to face the fear and do it anyway. But you just look inside and like I say, little actions. I tried to get a blog up. I tried to get a business up. I tried all these things. And in that moment, you're not fearful. But at some point you have to let go of the rail. Otherwise there's no space. And you know this in your transition as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about space creation. If you're holding on to the past, there's nothing new can come in. And it sounds like you're just totally dedicated to your own development. And I mean, that's why you're such a incredible, powerful, woman, and just such an inspiration to so many people. So thank you so much. I mean, there was so many nuggets of really great advice that I'm sure people are going to be able to take away from this call. So massive thank you. Love you lots.
Thanks so much, babe. Lovely to see you and so proud of what you're doing with your career as well. Love to the family.
Thanks, same.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Bye.
pleasure. Bye.